Thank you, Ms. Tyler. And we have several staff members that will be assisting if needed. David Profit, of course, our Executive Director of Facilities, Casey Mago, the Assistant Director of Facilities, Ken Stark, Executive Officer of Operations, and Ryan Latimer, who's over enrollment projections. Just in case we have some questions relating to those particular areas, I will ask Mike if Casey can share her screen so she can share the actual capital improvement budget proposal that we've already discussed at the previous meeting. While she's doing that, I will just go over the parameters that we use as far as prioritizing our capital improvement budget requests. As far as school building specific projects, we look at two things mainly. The first is the facility condition index score. It's a sophisticated model that calculates the facility condition index score. It's made up of 4 different subscores that are weighted. Typically, the lower the facility condition index score, the higher on the priority list, because that would mean that a school would need potentially a renovation or in some cases a replacement. And then we also look at what's called the building utilization percentage. That is looking at a building's capacity and the actual student enrollment. So therefore, any school building that has over 100% building utilization, typically that means that they are overcrowded. And so we have both of those things in play in metro schools. We have, as many of you know, a lot of older buildings. The average age of our buildings is 50 years old. We have 183 buildings spread all around and across Davidson County, over 14.6 million square feet, over 2,300 acres. And so we have a lot of needs, particularly as it relates to deferred maintenance. But also we have needs, particularly in the south and southeast part of the county, as it relates to student enrollment growth. We are experiencing enrollment growth in the south and southeast part of Davidson County, which means that we need to plan for dealing with potential overcrowding, particularly in the Antioch and Cane Ridge clusters, which continue to grow, as well as in some cases the Overton cluster. And so I just wanted to give that little bit of information as it relates to how do we prioritize our capital improvement budget requests, particularly those that are school specific. And as required, we submit to Metro Planning a 6-year capital improvement budget by the end of January. We actually have a 10-year capital improvement budget. And so the board will vote on this at the January 26th board meeting so that can be submitted to Metro Planning. Just as far as process goes, the Metro Planning Department will then organize all capital improvement budget requests, all 6-year capital improvement budget requests for all Metro departments and agencies. And then at some point in the future, the mayor will recommend what's called a capital spending plan. And so until there's a capital spending plan, these are all simply requests. And the mayor will recommend a capital spending plan to the Metro Council. And the mayor obviously will choose which projects and how much, et cetera, to recommend to the council. And then it's ultimately the responsibility of the council to approve the capital spending plan. And so you can see a series of columns here on the document that you have on the screen. We'll mainly be looking at column H, which is the year 1 request. These would be projects that we have considered our highest priority and that we are requesting to be funded next year, which would be year 1. And then you can see to the right different requests for future years. And these are all based upon the parameters that I mentioned at the beginning, which would typically be a lower facility condition index score or a higher building utilization percentage, which may mean classroom additions or in many cases a new school. And so just to touch on what's in year 1, you can see that in column H. And you can see the different row numbers so that we can hopefully keep up with those. I will point out, as you can see in column A, all of this is predicated on the school district moving to a K-5, 6-8 configuration, kindergarten through 5th grade in elementary school, 6th through 8th grade in middle school. Now, of course, in some areas that's easier to do now, and other areas it's going to take some time because of capacity issues, particularly in those areas that I just mentioned that continue to grow in enrollment. And so I'll just start with row 1 and just go through these just to explain them a little bit. Row 1 would be a new elementary school in Antioch, in the Antioch cluster, and this would be to purchase land for that elementary school. You can see that the request would be $3.4 million to purchase that land. We work closely with Metro Planning as well as Metro Public Properties in trying to determine the best location for a school based upon current and future growth, but also where potential land is available of the appropriate size that we need, as well as the appropriate topography for a school. The second would be row 2 would be design fees for a new Cane Ridge elementary in the Cane Ridge cluster. You can see those design fees, approximately $2.6 million. The row 3 would be a new middle school in the Cane Ridge cluster to alleviate current overcrowding. That's a 600 enrollment middle school at a potential cost of $36.4 million. We already have the land for the Cane Ridge cluster middle school, and so this would be to actually purchase or to actually construct the school itself. On row 4 would be an addition at the current Cane Ridge High School to alleviate overcrowding, adding approximately 480 new seats at a potential cost of $18.8 million. Row 5 would be design fees to renovate the current Haywood Elementary School, $2.4 million, which has a low facility condition index score and needs renovation. The next on row 6 would be one that's been carried forward for several years, actual construction of the new Hillwood High School at the Hope Park property that the school district owns. Just a little bit of history there. The school district owns the property, and then in a previous capital spending plan, the council approved $10 million for site work. There we go. For site work on that property, and so we have basically spent that $10 million to get the site ready for construction, and this would actually be the construction costs for that new high school. You can see the cost there, $121 million. That continues to escalate based upon increases in construction costs in the Nashville area. The next item on row 7, Hunters Lane High Track and Stadium. This would be the final project where we have attempted to upgrade stadiums and tracks at high schools so that all high schools have an 8-lane competition track. Hunters Lane is a little more difficult because of the way that the stadium and field are actually down sort of below ground level, and so this would require quite a bit of excavation to get the additional 2 lanes on the competition track, approximately $2.8 million, $2.9 million if you round up. Row 8 would be design fees for renovation of Paragon Mills Elementary School, $2.9 million. That, again, is based upon a low facility condition index, as well as the need, particularly in certain pods, that the way that school is constructed, and so that building needs renovation. The next would be a carry forward of a project that's been on previous years' capital improvement budget requests, and year 1 would be a replacement building for Percy Priest Elementary at a cost of approximately $36 million. And then the last item on year 1 would be design fees for West Meade Elementary. There's been ongoing discussion about exactly where the West Meade Elementary school would be located, whether it's the current site or maybe a potential new site or new location. And so that would dictate, of course, the design of that facility. And so we've got the design fees here in year one of approximately $3.1 million. So I'll stop there because I know that we had discussed these in fairly in detail at the previous Capital Needs Committee meeting. You can see beginning on row 11 through 17 would be the year two requests, et cetera, as you move on down the list. If you, Casey, if you could scroll down, and these would be the school building specific projects. If you could scroll down to the district-wide projects, these are just as important, if not more important, as far as the needs of the school district. If you can make that a little larger to be able to see, it would be helpful. Many don't realize that we thank you. Many don't realize the needs that we have as it relates to deferred maintenance. As I mentioned, the average age of our buildings is 50 years, and so we have every year we will have significant needs for deferred maintenance, particularly in the areas of HVAC, electrical upgrades, plumbing upgrades, roof repair and replacement, etc. And so you can see these would be sort of here in the maintenance the column where it says project type. I can't see the column letter, but maintenance would be those deferred maintenance type items. This also is where in our capital budget is where we purchase new school buses as well as replace our fleet vehicles. State law requires that school buses be retired after 15 years of service, and so every year we have a need to replace our school buses. Typically, we need to replace about 40 school buses per year to get on a proper cycle. They're about $100,000 each or so. So that's about a $4 million number. You can see here we've got a slightly higher. We've not been able to maintain that cycle based upon the approved capital funding we've received. And as I mentioned, this also includes fleet vehicle replacement. And then also included in our capital funding would be our technology funding, which is on lines 191, 192, and 193 on this document. And so all of our technology needs are funded through the capital budget. We are not able to participate in Metro's 4% fund, which is set aside per Metro charter for things like technology and some deferred maintenance, et cetera, that is available to other Metro departments and agencies. And so we're reliant upon the capital budget to be able to do all of these kinds of things. If you could scroll down just a little bit to see the total on the deferred maintenance, or total on the district-wide projects is about $191.4 million just for those district-wide projects, with the total request in year one. And again, this is a request of almost $421 million. Every year, this number seems to get larger and larger. Based upon the actual capital funding that we do receive. And so I'm going to stop there and see if David or any others would like to comment before we open it up for any questions or discussions, and I'll hand it back to you after that, Chair Tyler. So David or Casey, Ken or Ryan, do y'all have anything you would like to add before I turn it back over?
Ken, I think Chris, I think you covered it well on that, so I'll just reserve anything that I may have for any questions that may be asked.
Okay, and again, I know I went through this fairly quickly, realizing that Dr. Severe sent this document out again to all board members yesterday, so hopefully you had an opportunity to review it. And then, of course, we had met last month, I believe on December 8th, and discussed this as well. Been no changes to the document since our previous Capital Needs Committee meeting. So, Chair Tyler, I'll turn it back over to you and see if there are comments or questions that we could answer. Thank you.
Great, I appreciate it. That was very helpful. I did want to make one note. When you look at that the priority year one, those are in order of alphabetical order. So just in case anybody was wondering whether there was one that goes above the other, they're in alphabetical order. So if anybody has any questions, please turn on your camera and I'll look for you.
This is Jeannie. My camera's not working.
Oh, that's fine. Go right ahead.
Okay. So, Chris, can you explain then, let's say that we get an allocation for capital needs. How do you select from the, the year one list if it's not enough to cover everything?
Typically when and it's different from year to year and from administration to administration, but typically when the mayor will propose a capital spending plan, there will be school-specific projects included in that capital spending plan. So taken from the year one requests, there would be, specific projects that would be included in what's being recommended to the council from the mayor. And then we've typically had just an overall total amount for our district-wide projects. Sometimes they specify how much would go to deferred maintenance, how much would go to technology, et cetera. Sometimes they just leave it in a total amount and say district-wide projects. So it's really dependent upon how the mayor recommends the capital spending plan to the council. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I have a question.
Yes, go right ahead.
If you don't mind, Mr. Henson, how much do we typically get? What did we get last year? What have we gotten in the past few years for capital needs?
Good question, and it's varied, as you can imagine. I will say within the last, 10 years or so, there have been at least 2 years when we didn't get any capital funding, which makes it very, very difficult for us to continue to operate with the deferred maintenance needs that we have, with the technology needs that we have, with the school bus needs we have, et cetera. So it makes it very difficult. We've received, I think last year it was a little over $80 million that we received. And some of that included the capital for the tornado damage. That was approved by the Metro Council, I believe, on April 12th, after the March 3rd tornadoes. And we've received, all kinds of different amounts over the years. I think the largest amount from what I remember that we've received is $150 million. And we've received, of course, much lower than that too. So it's really just dependent upon Metro government's ability to fund debt, as well as what the appetite is from the mayor and from the Metro Council as far as allocating a capital spending plan.
Okay, but just for the viewing public, that 150, we hadn't gotten that recently, right?
No, that's been several years ago, and we can provide the board, if you'd like, we can provide the board with how much we have received over the last several years. I know we had a slide on that, maybe at our previous Capital Needs Committee, but I know we have a slide that would show how much capital funding we've received from year to year historically, and we can provide that to the board.
I just wanted the reminder for the community, so thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while since the 150.
It's about 4 or 5 years ago, Chris.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, well, before I ask us to take a vote on whether or not we want to send this to the board floor to approve it officially, I just want to take a minute and kind of touch back on what Ms. Masters just was talking about in the previous committee meeting about advocacy, and with Mr. Henson telling us that once we submit our request, it's out of our hands. And so I just want to encourage us to make sure that we're advocating for what we need as far as the capital needs budget goes as well. So, reach out to the mayor's office and your council representatives for people who are watching and have specific interests. So That being said, continue to advocate for what we need to make sure that we have the funding to do the things to keep us safe and to allow ourselves to get back into the classroom as soon as possible. So I would like to put this up for a vote to so that we can send it to the board floor and have the board vote on it officially on the board floor to send to the council and to the mayor's office. Do I need to make that an official motion, Ms. Buggs? I'm not sure the exact protocol in a committee meeting.
Sorry about that, Mrs. Tyler. Yes. You make a motion and then we'll have it seconded. We'll vote on it and then bring it to the board floor to do the exact same thing.
Okay, perfect. I thought so. I just want to make sure. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to vote to approve this and send it to the board floor.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do we need to do a roll call, Mr. Sevier, or can we just do a?
It needs to be a roll call.
Okay.
I'm happy to do that. And of course, if there are any changes between now and the final approval on the board floor, it can just be submitted as amended. So I'm happy to call the roll. Dr. Gentry?
David, sorry, just this Hank Clay, a little parliamentary thing. They need to have any room for discussion as well, right?
Certainly.
Yes, the floor is open for discussion for anybody who wants to add anything or have any other questions or make any amendments. Okay, I think we are ready to take our vote.
Dr. Gentry?
Aye.
Dr. Gentry votes aye. Ms. Elrod?
Aye.
Ms. Elrod votes aye. Ms. Masters?
Aye.
Ms. Masters votes aye. Mr. Little?
Aye.
Mr. Little votes aye. Ms. Bush?
Aye.
Ms. Bush votes aye. Ms. Buggs?
Aye.
Ms. Buggs votes aye. Ms. Player Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Player Peters votes aye. Ms. Pooper Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Pooper Walker votes aye. Chair Tyler?
Aye.
Madam Chair, you have 9 ayes.
Wonderful. All right, so we will bring this up again at the board meeting in just a little while. With no further business, I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting. Oh, wait, Mr. Henson's raising his hand.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, since this is not on the board agenda for this meeting, we will have it as a board agenda item at the January 26th meeting, which would be a committee recommendation from the Capital Needs Committee to the full board. And then once the board approves it at the January 26th meeting, of course, we will submit it to Metro Planning as part of the process, and then hope for good things to come. So thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. I'd forgotten. I appreciate that. All right. Well, no further business. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.